After spamming a lot of these things, I eat tomatoes. Not bad, 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 beat it happily. Do you like to beat it tomatoes? Okay, let's actually move to more important things, such as the mapping video. Firstly, the sea of irradiated cobalt. That's a pretty long and fun name for an area that is literally a sea of irradiated cobalt. This area is more populous than North Korea, so this sea of irradiated cobalt is even worse. And what's worse, the sea of irradiated cobalt expands, but this time into China, since this force is already but just a bunch of Muslims, because Muslims live here. But the sea of irradiated cobalt expands into China. The mountains of Yunnan are protecting Yunnan, is the Yunnan army, but China's cooked. With a large chunk of the Yangtze and big rivers being poisoned by the sea of irradiated cobalt, China bases western China, specifically the Shanghai region, completely collapses. These areas are now known as the anarchy zones, which are areas that just couldn't be controlled due to the lack of fresh water and food and subsidies. They are now heavily reliant on imports, but eventually some plans for purification of the water of farms, and eventually the sea of irradiated cobalt stops. But the damage is already done, and the anarchy of and the and the and the peasant revolt of the Chinese expands. Now, the areas such as the Pearl River, these are the areas that didn't get nuked, and the Chinese anarchy army will straight up expand into Beijing and capture all of China, while the Japanese are humiliated and have nothing to do about it. While Guangdong stays relatively stable, the Chinese are now an independent country. But it's not really an independent country, as the country immediately collapses into another warlord period. With the Beijing Clique, the alliance of the irradiated cobalt, the restaurants of the Kuomintang being here, and a bunch of small monarchist states such as Qingdao, Zhao, the Hai, the 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 Te, and many more Chinese cliques rise up. Chinese cliques and warlord states rise up until there is only a single pro-Japanese government. This being the Beijing government. They are now part, and eventually land reclamation gets the sea of irradiated cobalt just to the empire of irradiated cobalt. While on the other hand, the other hand, we move to Europe. Tensions could realistically rise up anywhere, specifically Bosnia. I'm looking at you, Bosnia. Plus, these powers have a lot of nuclear weapons, as seen in the nuclear weapons thingy. Plus, due to the treated trauma of this alternate First World War, and basically the humanity being stuck in the First World War era, psychologically, of course, not technologically. You already have nukes, that's better. Basically, eventually, the Caucasus countries, the reason I am not showing them as neutral as they are currently, as they need an ally for protection against the Soviet Union. The Finns they can do it themselves, not the Caucasian countries. And of course, the joining is pretty simple with these two. not these two join now. These two, not truly these two. So the Caucasian Federation joins the Middle Europa, and the Cossacks join the Entente, while Georgia is still a power that's somewhat independent and neutral. And this is the Cold War and a neutral power that is killing itself over who to join for survival. And the government just straight up collapses in one election with the pro monarchist Central Powers Party being mainly pro, mainly taking with the Georgia 1962 elections causing mass chaos as Armenian separatists rise up in the south, almost near Tbilisi. Georgian market liberals, being favored by the Entente, rise up here. Abkhazian separatists rise up here. Same with Ossetian separatists, but all separatists are only here. The Ossetian separatists are only here. And of course, there are some minor countries, but not really a lot of them. These are not really the main factions, as the winning party doesn't exist. All factions could equally qualify for the same government, with varying levels of legitimacy. Western Georgia is currently under the pro-Central Powers monarchist faction, while Eastern Georgia is under a bunch of socialists. And with this, the Georgian Civil War starts. Both Germans, French, and British intervene in this proxy war, because it's a proxy war, of course. The market liberals move up and secure the massive trade hubs. They are mainly made of mercenaries who are fighting for the Georgian capitalists. The monarchists quickly solidify their support areas in the mountains, and Gaheti, which is just a mess with Azeris and those areas, quickly joins them. With the socialists being just in Tbilisi and Rustavi, the socialists eventually get sieged down and get captured by the Armenian separatists. And now the market liberals are moving to catch up into Kutaisi and Swaneti. Well, they also swat out the Abkhaz, and the market liberals are actually pretty good at integrating Abkhazia, but it's not the monarchists. The monarchists are basically Nazis. So, and that's why the Reich and the Middle Europe and the Welt and the Weltpact really favors them. Oh, by the way, this alliance is called the Weltpact, and this alliance is now officially called the Accord. The Weltpact and the Accord. With the Armenian separatists being quickly finished, the so-called Battle of Imereti begins. The pro-Entente market liberals and Georgian monarchists fight with Eastern Georgia now being a part of the monarchists and Western Georgia being now part of the market liberals. But luckily Azerbaijan and Northern Caucasia are seriously leading them. Plus, a lot of the Georgians don't really want market liberals in power due to basically the Georgian Orthodox Church basically rigging the whole thing. I mean, okay. I have no strategy. I'm a Paradox player, so sometimes they say that war is rigged or something like that. But still, with only really trade areas being captured and Muslim-dominated living areas, After the end of the Civil War, the Georgians joined Middle Europa and multinational alliance, and this would quickly escalate to Romania joining the alliance as well. Darchebi. Due to a lot of things that's happening, and the Georgian Civil War, which lasted for a few years, for a bunch of few years. Here's, I mean, okay, what can I cover? The Chinese. Okay, I'll cover the Chinese. The small league of some provinces. Okay, I don't know China. Okay, especially this period in China and this alternate area, China. So this small league, which is already which gets dominated by monarchists, moves into here, and that's a thing. With this clique being annexed by this clique. I mean, this clique is monarchist, that clique is a clique. Okay, I like to call it a clique because it's a clique, not clique. This small area gets quickly annexed by Yunnan, even though Yunnan has a bunch of nukes in it. And of course, Trump, DJ, Donald, cookies. Eventually, the cult of irradiated cobalt just dies and is replaced by the peasant by a bunch of farming peasants forming an anarchist clique. And yeah, with that, let's end the video.